here is your typical head, all right? So the problem is, if I apply pressure down like that, I'm smashing their face into the face cradle. See that? So when I work on their head and neck, I want to think about the muscles that are attaching up and through here. That line right here where the ears come across, the top of the ears, find that on yourself. Below that is a huge overlapping raphe connecting seam between the muscles that are coming from the thorax and the stuff that's concentrated more on the scalp. And the scalp needs to move. I'm gonna mess your hair up.
No, already.
The scalp has got to move, if at all possible, on the skull. So I'm going to show you some things with that too. So, okay. So if I start here, tell me the problem. If I'm trying to apply pressure here, what's the problem? I'm going downhill. That's automatically going to shift my weight to my front foot, and so I need to position more this way. And then I've got this thing happening, where if I start to lean in here, that arm is gonna go right between my legs. All right, so if I had draping on here, I can just tuck that drape right underneath there and keep that right there.
Or, I mean,
over here in the front. So usually I'd have it back this way, or I would have it propped on a stool like that.
If you're trying to get into that neck and head, when on the stool, be kind of like interfering with getting in the way?
Not when I'm coming at it from this direction. Okay, so either this is here or it's tucked back. Now if I have it here, do you see how this is in slack? And if I take it and put it here, it's more in taut. All right, so my focus, I got a hill that goes this way, I got a hill that goes this way, and then I got a valley right there. So if I'm gonna work this the best, I'm gonna start up here on this and work my way down just to the middle of the scapula. And then I'm going to turn myself around and get up into that base of that skull. Now, again, when I do that, the downside to doing it this way is that I'm smashing his face into the face cradle. Now, I can grab hold of, when you're gonna use the hair to decompress, to pull up, you gotta get a bunch of it. Now, if they don't have a bunch of hair, this isn't gonna work as well. A lot of the athletes I worked with shaved their head, and so I couldn't do that. I had to slide it back and forth like this, but I can get a hold of Luke's hair and see, I can lift him right up like that. But it shouldn't pull. Pulls if you got just a little bit. So come around here so that you can see what happens right here. Look right, see that? He's got a little birthmark. Watch. See how I moved it? Mm-hmm. All right. All right.
The things we just do to our children.
Okay, now what I would do is I would turn his head to the side, is what I would do in this position. And now I can get right into the side of it and not slam his face into the face cradle. So I'm on all of that right there on one side. And it's actually better to do that, although it's rare that you would apply enough pressure. The multiple arteries that feed the brain, they come up deep underneath in here. It's called Circle of Willis and comes down, does all that. Sometimes people can get lightheaded if you're applying pressure on both sides of the neck at the same time. Have you ever had anybody get dizzy when you're washing their hair in the back? They're leaning on that right
Yeah.
through there. Yeah, so better to do one side than the other.
Isn't that because there's arteries on both sides, and if you cut off?
If you cut off on both sides, they're gonna have
Yeah.
more issues. Right, so, okay, so I'm in here, I'm on this now. That's one level of sensation. So here's one type of sensation. This is a pressure sensation. I can make it static. Or I can make it move. So the movement is happening at my feet. Alright. So I'm not doing this. Alright, I'm getting in there and then I'm rocking back and forth. I can use this part of my hand to get right in there. There's a little hill I can lock in right there. I can increase the pressure in the area by leaning into my, so put your hand right underneath me. All right, feel the difference?
And you're using quite a bit of pressure.
Right.
I mean, a lot.
Yes.
Actually.
Yeah. This is a big bone bowl with lots of duct tape and some muscles in it. It can take a lot of pressure as long as it's not pokey. But I'm not pokey, I'm this whole thing right here. All right, now, this is where you need to know the muscle structure because you want to integrate inhibitory pressure, and then the next step and sensation would be movement. Inhibitory pressure plus movement. So, how do you move this part of your head? How do you do that? You come back, right? You go forward. You turn it a little bit. You scrunch up your eyes. You know, you stick your chin back and forth. You tuck your chin. Those are the kinds of movements I'm going to want him to do. I usually accomplish all that by telling them to turn the area in a big circle. So I'm going to apply the pressure. Now I've got problems because we're pressing him into the table here. If I tell him, go ahead and roll your head in a circle, make sure it's your head. He's getting that friction underneath there. I'm here, he's doing that.
And you're holding your pressure.
Yep, so there's another level of sensation. So I'm here. Okay, roll your head in a circle. Make sure you really tuck your chin down. And big circle, then go the other way. Now, interestingly, another thing I can do, every movement that we are going to make, we have a pre-movement action, and it happens with our eyes. The eyes are part of it, so is our inner ear and other stuff. But if I have him roll his eyes in a circle, I'm getting the exact same activation without as big a movement. And that he can do in this position. So, okay, go ahead, roll your eyes in great big slow circles. And then go the other way. So 4 or 5 different sensation levels in there. In this position with the head, it's up on a little bit of a slope. So I can come in and I'm higher. I'm more focused on this temporalis here. and down into the masseter. So I apply the pressure, I decompress, make it pretty, apply the pressure. Now, with this group of muscles, he has to open and close his mouth. That's how I get the movement there. And another little trick with the eyes, you can have them look where my pressure's at. Just turn your eyes and look where my pressure's at, and then look the other way. That turns this on, then it turns it off. And then I can get into the cervical area and through here, which is gonna, see, this is pulling this way, that's pulling that way. I don't think the camera saw that very good, so turn your head the other way. So, wrap right around, and then you can get into that valley. All right, now roll on your side, Lou. Okay, I can do everything I just did way much easier in this position. Because by turning the head, what I did was essentially put it in the sideline position. So I don't do very much. Maybe run my fingers through the hair and pull a little bit if I can. And it's pleasant to them, and they don't have some $300 hairdo that they don't want messed up.
You're saying in prone, you don't usually, if you're going to use sideline, you save most of that for a sideline.
Yep.
Not prone.
Yep, I would just do this, and I know I'm going to do sideline because it's so much easier here. So just tip their nose down a little bit, and I can get right into this. It's the same sequence. It's just the positioning is so much easier. And they can get a little bit more of a roll. So I'm also here getting into the occipital frontalis, where the muscles move the scalp back and forth like this. So if he scrunches his eyes together, you know, I'm getting some movement when you move the eyebrows. So, okay, go ahead and move your shoulder, or your shoulder. Go ahead and move your head in a circle. And I'm not worried about smashing his face down into the face cradle. And good. Feel me right here. Turn your eyes and look right at me. And then look total opposite. Sternocleidomastoid, this big thing that comes in through here, comes right up to here. That's it. All right. Can you stick your chin out and then back towards in? Now, if they don't want to participate in those movements, you would superimpose maybe some circular friction or something like that with it. He didn't want to do that. He's asleep already. You know, so when I'm in this area, I would think more of a more focused compression in the space. I got the temporalis here, I've got the frontalis here, I've got all of the jaw muscles right through here. Much easier to work on, I can get them both. Okay, open your mouth, clench your teeth. Move the scalp.
Did you say clench your teeth?
Clench. Yeah.
Yeah. So they say, oh, I was chewing bubble gum. All right. That's really hard on all of this in through here. I can get, probably not this. Do you see why that's not the best choice? This part of your hand here. I can get right under that zygomatic bone and right into where that masseter lays, right there. Open, close. Excellent. I can get this right through here, that valley and through there. Again, it's all happening with me coming forward, coming back.
That type of movement that you're doing right now, do you think that you could do that with them sitting and just leaning back?
Probably, I'd have to try it.
I'm wondering if in my hair chair.
Yeah, because the movement is I'm holding this still. That's what this hand is doing. So I'm getting lots of shear. I'm not letting his head move and stuff. I'm holding that there. I might, well, you know, I might put it on a muscle someplace because I might swell, right? And then real big. I'm way, way, way underneath the neck. And work my way around. Remember the extrinsic muscles that come up in through there. Okay. And then they roll on their back. Now, here, I've got the sternocleidomastoid. It's a big player, and it attaches down through here. I've got this platysma connective tissue thing that comes down through here. Make your sternocleidomastoid do something. Okay, this is that big sternocleidomastoid. This is considered the posterior triangle of the neck. This is the anterior triangle of the neck. We tend not to do any pressure in the anterior part of the neck.
Yeah, so no throat.
I can lift it. All right, I can lift it, but there's a lot of vessels and there's a gag reflex in there, and so we don't want to come in and do a lot of pressure in through there, but I can lift it. And then what that muscle does is kind of along with the sternocleidomastoid. So I can say, you know, can you stick your chin out? Yeah. I'm lifting it. I'm not pushing down. Do it again. And again. Good.
So Logan has came in from like this direction and kind of like grabbed these and like pulled into this
Yeah,
way.
that's the sternocleidomastoid.
That is-
yeah.
Yeah.
That can hurt.
Yeah.
Like,
And
you
those, there are
don't
some
realize how
things.
tight those muscles
So
are.
there are some things that you do as part of the general massage, and then there's specific releases. We're not teaching you those very specific ones just yet, but that sternocleidomastoid can mimic migraine headache. You know, so, but when I'm here, I've already got the attachments of it. You know, I can work, so right here, here's where the attachment is for that.
For this part right here.
Yeah, come down in through here. Pin that down, and then the attachment, and then have them do the movement. And I should feel it move underneath my hand. I can do a little bit of, not aggressive, but this is, that's all slack. right? So I hold one end of it down and I move the other end, not very much. Or I can hold this here and I can come in like that and start to get some stretch in the tissues along through there. So this would be where, now I hate a stool because I've fallen off them. And as soon as I try to lean forward, talk about my butt going back. So,
It's missing a wheel, so just be careful.
oh, it's missing a wheel? That doesn't help. I like a chair, just a straight old chair better. Okay, so now I'm more thinking the face part of all of this. So I've got the frontalis here. This, especially for squinting or in the sun or something, this can get really tender in through there. So my hand is under here, just so I can control the head. And then I might tell them, can you squeeze your eyebrows together? Cool. Now, I'm more apt to do this one when I'm standing, so I've got some pressure down. And then I've already done both sides of this, so this is more just soothing, different levels of pressure in through here. So this would be light. See, I'm sliding on the skin. This would be medium. See that superficial fascia, that skin is moving. That's got a whole different sensory mechanism to it. And then when I come in with some pressure, and actually, do you see how that scalp is starting to move around? That would be a firmer pressure in through there. The ears, these ears, I can move the scalp with those ears. Hold the hair right here. Just hold it, yep. Okay. So, I use those ears, and it's a pretty good squeeze on those. Now this is different than facial pressure. Facial pressure is going to target the skin. If you're an esthetician, I'm wanting to provide sensation through the skin, the connective tissue, and into the muscles in the area. If I believe that facial expression can influence through the limbic system, then I'm going to want to mimic a relaxed facial face, you know, or something that has a little smile to it. Or now again, notice even with my hands here, it's about me leaning forward and then, or back and forward with it. Not that. Everything happened. Once I get my hands on somebody, I don't move them very much. The rest of my body moves. I hold on to it, but then I come forward. I come back. Go do that to each other.
Have fun.